What is going on, mi gente? It's your girl, Idylli. What's going on? Happy Tuesday. Yes, another fabulous Tuesday. And you know what? For my people watching from Florida in the 813, happy 813 day. I didn't even know that was a thing until I seen somebody post it and I said, yeah, it is 813. So, okay, happy 813 day for all of my people here in the Tampa Bay area watching. Let me know if that is you. Type in 813 if you represent your city, which is the Tampa Bay area where we all are, most of us are from. Anyways, so yes, I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As always, I am so appreciative of every single one of you. You guys decide to spend your evening with us, right? And I say us because I have a special guest lined up here. She's waiting in the green room. I love to say that, right? It's like it has a green room and she's waiting in the green room to come on out and speak with us. But before I do, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, because you all just could be watching Netflix or you could be doing something else. I know you're home from work and the kids started school this week for Hillsborough County and most of the Tampa Bay area. And so I know that it's a lot, but yet you guys come on here faithfully and you guys spend your time here with me and you like and you comment and you share. And it's so appreciated. And I thank you so much. The SpeakEasy with Idylli show, it's definitely a platform created for people like you, like me, to come on, right? The ordinary, right? That just made a decision to live extraordinary, right? I love to say that because I'm not by all means ordinary, but I am like, I'm an ordinary girl, like grew up in the hood, you know, all my story. If you haven't, go catch an episode. Like, but yeah, I made the extraordinary decision to live a different life, to go all in, to challenge the status quo. And it has completely changed my life, right? This has been 7 years in, maybe even 8 now in the making, because my son's 8 and it started when he was born. So 8 years in the making, okay? What you're seeing, a lot of people are like, man, well, how did all of a sudden? I'm not new to this, mi gente. I grew to this, okay? I am definitely not new to this. I grew to this, but I do have some announcements. First off, like I said, it was back to school. I hope everybody had a great day yesterday. I hope they have a fabulous week. If you are in my email community, I sent out a prayer this week that is powerful. If you feel you need to go back and read that prayer for your student, for anyone in your any teacher that you know, definitely go back into the community email. If you want to be a part of the community email and you want to know what that looks like, definitely let me know. I send tons of value out, right, for free, just really giving information, prayers, and things like that to continue to grow us, right, with the SpeakEasy community, right? And so I'm really excited that I was able to do that for you all. And then, drum roll, I still haven't worked out my noise counselors here, my noise thingies here, but we are definitely getting ready to get into the next event, mi gente. I am so excited. I'm going to share with you guys. This is 4 steps to a 6-figure mindset, and it is happening next Monday. Next Monday, y'all. If y'all are ones that have the Monday blues, or you know, you just Mondays are your worst days, come have your best day with me. Okay, 4 steps to a 6-figure mindset. Like, this is for you if you want to like reprogram your mind, if you want to achieve and set some goals that you want to really put in place and get to the next level. Do you know there's 142 days? 142 days until 2025. Bro, we are right there. Like, if you want to create a fail-proof plan, literally fail-proof plan. Like, I'm not one to make promises, but this is a guarantee that if you follow, now you got to put the work in, right? Like, if you follow what you learn on that Monday, it is a fail-proof plan for you to grow into, right? So it's happening 8:19, 8 p.m. I moved the time down because I know normally I do them at 6:30, but again, school started and we're on a different time schedule, right? And so this is, you can get your kids in bed and get your pen and paper and have everything ready for this 4 steps to a 6-figure mindset. Like really unlocking your income, turn your passion into a 6-figure business. Who doesn't want to know about that, right? And so if you want to know how to work with me, this is the website you can go to sign up. SpeakEasyWithIdylli.com/4. Okay, it's pretty simple, right? 4 steps. And then, of course, if you want to have a conversation with me, if saying, I don't know about the masterclass, or you just want to talk, you want to figure it out, scan this QR code right here. Scan this, take a picture of it. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. There's 142 days into the new year, right? And so we want to make sure that we get to choose to love, to understand that we are ordinary people that made an extraordinary decision to live our best lives, right? And so that is how you will be able to get there. And I'm really, really excited for that. And speaking of ordinary people who made the extraordinary decision, I am so excited, you guys, because I have a special guest tonight. And I am super, like, she even posted about it. She said, this is going to be like a reunion. Like, you have no idea how true that is. Like, her and I met through our previous endeavor together, and it was an immediate click, like immediate friendship, immediate, down for each other movement. She has a story like no other. People look at her now and she does not look like what she's been through. That's for sure. Okay. That is for sure. And so I'm really, really excited and honored that she has made the time. Her time is so valuable, y'all. And listen, I'm super honored that she is on here with you guys, with us, right? With you guys, with us, right? Elise Howard, are you here?
Hello, Miss Idylli. Thank you for that introduction, my love.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Even better now. How are you doing?
Amen. I'm so good. I'm so good. Thank you so much for making the time. And I say making because I know that's what you did. Normally you will be going to 9:00 at night. I know you. I know your schedule. And so for you to be able to make your time to be on here with us, to give value to the people, we really appreciate it.
It is important. And
Yes.
you reach individuals, and I would love to pour value into where there's value to be had. So thank you for having me. And
Thank you.
congratulations for Miss Idylli Speaks. Speak Easy. I love this. So congratulations to you. So proud.
Thank you so much, love. Thank you. So let's get into it. This is, normally the guests, we start from the beginning. Like, let's talk about, where you're from. Were you born in Tampa, or you're probably celebrating 813, but not from born here. So like, do you have brothers and sisters? Let's talk a little bit about that.
All right. So born in Denton, Maryland. So definitely not from the 813, more of an East Coaster. Moved around a lot as a kid. I have one sister. I have a half brother, but I've never met him. So I guess that doesn't really count, right? Doesn't count. I don't know him. I know of him, don't know him.
Is that from mom or dad?
Dad.
Okay.
Yes. So, but there's a short family lineage. Yeah, there's not very many of us still around. Small family.
Okay, well, you're trucking through, right? You have a niece, so she's gonna carry on. So,
oh yeah,
it's small, but you're trucking through. You're trucking through. Hopefully, she'll have like 4 or 5 kids.
Of course, yeah. We're breaking chains right now. We're breaking chains so the future ones have a different path than we did. That's all.
Right. And she has 4 or 5 kids in a great situation, with a wonderful husband and an amazing life. Let's go. We're calling on her little niece right now. We call it right now, right? And that she'll continue to grow. And so you have a small family. You know, you grew up in that area. So you're used to the cold, right? And you moved around a lot. When you say moved around, different cities or within where you were?
So different states. and in different cities in those states. My mother was a single mother of two. So in the 80s, being a divorcee with two girls wasn't quite popular, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love how you say the ordinary becomes extraordinary, right? Because the
Mm-hmm.
goal was always to not be a statistic, right? Because when you come from a single mom with two girls, we literally grew up on welfare. $550 a month is what my mother ended up getting for us. So we moved around a lot because she couldn't afford a home of her own.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're alone and doing it, it's difficult.
Yeah.
And you're talking late 80s into the early 90s. So the help wasn't there for her, and being in the environment that she was in and having the traumas that she had, right? We could layer this differently. We could tell different parts of the stories in different ways. But having the trauma that she had, she didn't really have the emotional intelligence, right, to make good decisions under pressure, because things
Mm-hmm.
were kind of done differently back then,
Yes.
right?
Way different.
So we ended up house hopping and couch hopping a lot. I did
Mm.
not have I did not have a bedroom of my own until I was 14 years
Mm.
old. Lived in homeless shelters countless times. Salisbury, Maryland, Church Street. If you guys know where that is, you'll be like, she does
Yeah.
not. She did not. Where? No way. People that live out there, oh yeah, it's that old Christian shelter. Many lessons from there. I was probably 12, 13 through that
Mm.
time. So we hopped around a lot. I was never in the same school for a full year to move to the next grade in that same school district, just to give you an idea of the amount of moving in my childhood, if that
Right.
gives a little bit of a.
It does. It does. And I love how you said, in the 80s, she didn't have the emotional intelligence to make the decisions. Like, you're right. You and I have similar stories. My dad had passed away. And so my mom was left with four kids. She's 18, 19, 20. And then a couple years later, my other sister. So, like, my sister was one when she passed. So, like, she did the best that she could with what she had, which was
Yeah.
nothing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
She came from that environment that
Mm-hmm.
didn't have anything either. Like, so and she had traumatic childhood herself. So she
Yes.
wasn't even healed from those things. So I definitely can relate to that in
Mm-hmm.
reference to, you going through that with your mom, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I want to express how, and I mean, I'm probably jumping here. We'll get to this a little later, but just the experiences that you had at 12 years old, being in a shelter, being in a not in a good neighborhood, sleeping on different couches, not having a bedroom until you were 14 years old. I can relate to that, girl. Like, my cousins and I, and my brothers and I, we all shared a room. Like, I did not have a bedroom the same way, my own room, until I was like, early teenager. Same thing.
Yeah.
Like, when we moved here,
Right.
definitely never when we were in Chicago. We were all sleeping on the floor, cousins. I know you've seen those memes, right? We're head to head. But our family was a little bit bigger, but still, like, sleeping on
Mm-hmm.
people's couches. And I know you've seen some things, right? I know that the environments that you were in, if you're talking about, oh, people know that area, like, what kind of things that you have seen. So you grew up in this situation. So for people to see you now, that's why I say you don't look like what you've been through, right? Because
Thank
no
God.
one can, with your cute blue clouded shirt, massaging her. She got her business on there. We're gonna talk about in a little bit. Her little white chair. You know what I mean? Like, her beautiful
Yeah.
face. Like, you wouldn't think, right, that you had
Mm-hmm.
been through, so much in your childhood. And so you gone through this to your childhood. Your mom did the best with what she had, which wasn't the best
Yeah.
because the emotional intelligence wasn't there. And I like how you put that there. So there seems like there was some forgiveness. The way that you've answered that, it seems like you give your mom like that forgiveness.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think we've gotten, I don't know if it's accustomed to or we've been told to blame others for situations and circumstances, right?
Mhm.
And my mother had children late in life, so it wasn't like she was a child having children. She had been through some things, and there was some issues, that previous traumas. Forgiveness, most definitely, because no one's given a handbook.
Mm,
Everybody's kind of beginning wherever they're at, and we're all at different layers and levels in life, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially. And she was just in a space that she was broken emotionally. She gave her life to my father emotionally, and 16 years they were together,
mm,
right? And created this life, and then he cheated, right? And he told her, and she's pregnant with me. And
mm,
even though being a woman in that time and in that time frame, and being raised without parents, my grandmother, my grandfather died when my mother was 1 and 2.
wow.
So the forgiveness and the acceptance and the understanding comes because I'm a bottom line type of person, right? I need to know why, right? I need to know what's the bottom dirt, where are those roots at? What is this coming from? Let's pull all the stuff that makes stuff look good out, and let's look at what's
Right.
really going on, right? So as I've kind of grown through life, right? As you say, I'm not new to this. I've grown to this, right?
Yeah.
This is hard work and dedication. It's a
Right.
job
And
in its
right. And that's
own.
why I wanted to ask that because, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, it was for me too, right? Sometimes it
Yeah.
still is. Like there's some things that pop up and I'm like, and it is for a lot of people, like they still in their 40s and 50s and like totally blame their parents. They still have that grudge. They can't get over it. Their hearts, still broken. And so
Mhm.
I know that your mom, is in her permanent place, right? She has gone to be with the Lord. And so I would like to talk about y'all's relationship before that happened.
Yeah.
How was the forgiveness there already? Or, did it come on because she got sick? Like, how did that happen?
So this is like a great question. First, second, and third, it's kind of like three parts as you're asking it, right? So my mother was my everything in my life. Like she was my world. You talk to her, you're coming to me. That was,
Mhm.
I was her protector. I was like a little pit bull on her side. I grew up very fast, very young. So I was helping her make decisions when I was 6, 7 years old, when we've got people vandalizing our house, the trailer that we lived in that had no hot water, that had holes in the bottom of the floors. And she's like, honey, do you think we need to move? And there's, cops telling us to get guns, right? And I'm, 6, 7 years old having to answer questions like this with my mother.
Mhm.
And, so I'm like, well, if it's not safe, then yeah, we should go, right? I'm a kid. I don't know what's going on. Um, So now the relationship before she passed, I am 36 years young now. My mother became an angel, and blessed us with her presence that way about 14 years ago from cancer, from lung cancer. I
Mm,
had been her caretaker pretty much since I turned like 13, 14 years old. I was paying rent, I was working. Um, it was legal in Delaware to get a job at 14. So I was kind
mm,
of doing other stuff before I was 14 to, make some money. Knocking on people's doors, cutting grass, babysitting kids, cleaning up cigarette,
mm,
whatever I could do, that's what I was doing, right? By the time
right.
14 came to go get a job, I was working. And from the age of 15 to her passing, I was taking her to the doctor's office every single month, a different specialist, internal medicine, cardiovasculature, regular PCP provider, and then, of course, the medications, right? The slew of the medications that everybody
Mm,
provided.
mhm,
And so there wasn't, I didn't even understand that I needed to have forgiveness for her in those times. There was no option for a feel bad. The only option was survival, do what needed to get done and get through the days, right?
mm,
There was no other mindset except this is what needs to happen,
right,
right?
right.
And then like she wasn't getting better and she was tired, and I was a kid still. I was a teenager, so I didn't really grasp what was going on. And I'm going to get into a different part of the story and I'm going to come back.
Okay.
So what I did not realize before her passing was my mother grew up my entire life in pain. She was on pain medications, and she was technically disabled. She had complete loss of her median nerve, which means she dropped things. She had no control of her right
Mm,
arm. And so there was, headaches, pain, all these different symptoms we hear all the time, but
right.
she was diagnosed with like chronic issues that are unexplained in those
Right.
times. So when I was like 9, 10 years old, I was 150 pounds. Now I'm 5'2". We have petite
Yeah.
family, and I was that big at 9 years old. So, and I say this because I want to kind of put this piece in, because a lot of people don't understand what we see is all we know, right?
Mm,
So if we're being raised to understand that if you feel bad and you go to the doctors and they give you medication, you take it and you keep moving, right?
right.
So what I saw was my mother going to the doctors, but she was never getting better, but she kept getting medications. So I was 9, 10, overweight. I go to bend over one day and my back is like, oh, this pain. So then I'm starting to go to the doctors, right? I'm mimicking what I see. Now, mind you, the pain was there. Not saying the pain wasn't there, but just to give you a broad base of kind of like what really matters, right? And what we're
Yeah.
showing versus what we're
Right.
saying. And I didn't come to this epiphany to understand that this was relative until after my mother passed away and years
Mm,
after her death. That's why I say it's different parts. Um, I was never angry with her. I was never upset with her, even through the different times of life. For me, it was just like it was our battle. It was us against the world, you know? So it
right.
wasn't
Right.
um so I saw her going to the doctors. Now I'm 9, 10 years old getting prescribed Flexerols, ibuprofen 800 milligrams, Scalaxin, muscle relaxers. I'm a child. And
Wow.
thank God, right? I didn't have that chromosome or what have you where it's like I pop them and I'm loving them, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a real
Yeah.
thing.
That addiction. Yeah.
It's
It
a
is a
real,
real
real
thing.
thing.
It is. I thank
I,
God all the time for that same thing because we did a lot of drugs growing up. And I'm like,
yes,
I don't know what it was because a lot of friends still do them. And I'm like,
sure.
God, I don't know what it was, but thank you that I didn't have that addictional personality because I still
Yep.
could be stuck. And there's some drugs that I really was into that I love that I can still say to this day that I will never try because I know where it would take me, right? But it's
Right.
that,
Most
like you said,
definitely.
so that could have happened easily to you, especially back then. They didn't, it wasn't so like now, like the doctors, they do hand out prescriptions, but not like before the drug,
Yeah,
epidemic, the pill epidemic, right?
most
Um,
definitely.
so it was more like the crack era. So,
Yes. Oh,
right?
yeah.
To be real, like it was more the
Oh,
crack
yeah.
era. And so
Yeah.
therefore pills, look at, they're just giving them out to kids, giving them out and not
Dish
even
them out.
realizing, oh
Most
my
definitely.
thank
So
God.
thank God I didn't like it. And I was like, I'm not taking them. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. But every time I went to the doctors, it's never getting better. It's never getting better. So they would prescribe more, do this, do that, all of these things. And I never put two and two together until I am in my office and I'm practicing and I'm working on patients all day, every day. And I've got 48,000 hours of hands on experience and dealing with patients, broad medical
Yeah.
histories,
Listen,
and I'm in with them for hours.
you are definitely going there. Like I seen that and I said, oh no, people need to know this. Like, so we coming back to that. Like that is okay, we coming back to that. But let's wrap this other part up.
Yes,
So
yes.
your mom, you're her caretaker, you're going through your own personal journey in weight,
Mhm.
right? You continue down this path. Your mom
Mhm.
goes to be with the Lord. Then what?
So I lost her, and it kind of became an obsession to understand how the body really works.
Mm.
Because the medicine avenues and the pharmaceutical avenues, the math wasn't mathing.
Mm.
Um, I had went down a path of confusion, obsession, and tunnel vision of work, work overnight, sleep for maybe 2 or 3 hours, continue on to the work, right? And at that
Mm.
time, it was the injury centers. I was working at some injury centers, and oh my gosh, 8 a.m., 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 5 days a week, and then overnights from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m.
But
So
you know what,
working,
Elise? I mean, I
yeah,
think looking back now, I, I believe, and I'm pretty sure you'll agree that it was both. Like, it was the obsession of the body and trying to work things out and get really good at what you were doing, but also the fact of how you grew up. Like, you've been working since a young age. You wanted to make sure that you were not going to live a life like that. And I say this because I've literally seen it over and over and over again, repeated in families, right? Two things happen in families. Either the kids use it to excel and not be that way, or they use it as an excuse of why they couldn't get ahead. There's no in
yeah,
between. There
yeah,
really is no in between when you grow up with such traumatic, and experiences, and having to grow, be the adult at 7, right? Make
yeah,
adult decisions at 7 and 8 years old. I get you. My dad passed
mhm,
away. I had to grow up fast, take care of my brothers and sisters.
mhm,
Like, I had out my mom, like,
mhm,
right? And so I totally understand that, but it's a different, thing. So I believe that
yeah,
working that you had, right, was a little bit of both in you, right? And you
oh
maybe
yeah,
didn't realize it till later. You thought, okay, I'm just obsessed with, this, but it definitely played a big role. However, it benefited you. I
oh
mean, when you
extremely,
talk about 48,000 hours in something, you're considered a PhD, like,
yeah,
beyond that, right? Because
mm,
it takes what, 10,000 hours to be a professional, right? That's
right,
the thing,
yeah,
right? 10,000
so
hours
this
to be a professional at something.
mhm,
Yeah, 48,000 hours. Like, you're way past that, right? And
oh
so you're
yeah,
working these jobs, you're doing, 8 to 12 in one place, then you're doing it in another
mhm,
place, you're getting certifications. Let's talk about that. You went to school. What did you first got your
mhm,
massage license? Was that the first thing you
yeah,
did?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So first got my massage license and went through school that way. Actually, that was the beginning of when I moved to Florida. And so Everest, which they're not even open anymore.
I remember them. Yeah, I remember
It was on
them.
a whim. It was on a whim. I had to drive so far every day to go
I
in and get in
remember
there and
them.
get it done. And it was just it was a challenge through and through, right? Because where you come from, where I came from, uh there was a lot of you've got the distractions, you've got the noise all around you. So at that time, I knew I had to get up and get out and get away from what I was doing and where I was local, right? So that's why Florida was it, and that's why massage school was it, right? Because it was
Mm,
cut all contact with everybody from my past, focus
mm.
on what I got to do, silence the noise and distractions,
Right, right.
and do
Because it
massage,
could have
right?
easily, you could have easily went left, like you said, if you would have stayed there. I mean, you're grieving your mom, your best friend, the person you took care of passes away. Like, you have your familiarity of where you
Mm,
are and what
yeah.
you lived and how you could
Oh, yeah.
go. And so that tug that's gonna pull you, right? Because that's where the enemy wants you to be. So of
Yeah.
course he's gonna pull you into that road, but you were like, no, not me.
Nope, I was good at not answering phone calls and I was good at working, studying. When I was going to school, when I came back, and I have learning disabilities. I was that kid in elementary school that was in the special classes, that was in speech classes, that was in the behind classes.
Mm.
because I had so much
I think
childhood
back then we
trauma
used to call them the boom boom
that
classes. I don't know if they still do. That's horrible to
I don't
say, but
know.
it's
I
true.
was happy,
Back
man.
then,
I
that's
got
what we call
candy.
them. Oh, they're the boom boom class.
I got candy. I thought I was cool. So I was like, it was I didn't learn. I did not realize that it was actually from a trauma, like trauma brain, um, until I was listening to a David Goggins podcast and I was listening to his Can't Hurt Me book. And he was
Mm,
like, I was so traumatized. My brain was so traumatized. I had learning disabilities. And I was like,
mm-hmm.
oh.
Yeah.
And then, I had spoken to another professional and we kind of backtracked a few things and it's just amazing. But again, we choose, right? I tell people now I was in learning disability classes and I never was in the same school for the same school year. You can imagine what my transcripts looked like.
Right. Right.
So I've had to clean up a lot of things in my adult life that I never even was able to build in my childhood.
I
Never.
love that. And I love the fact that, at the end of the day, you said you choose, right? We get to choose to love to. One of my mentors, D Walker, he always says that and it sticks. My Romani, when he hears it, he's like, Mom, again. I'm like, I'm gonna say this now for the rest of my life. Like, we don't have to do nothing, right? You get to choose to love to, right? So we don't have to do nothing. And so I like that you said that you choose, because so many of us, and this is why I do these master classes and these events, because here we are in our second half of our life, and so many of us feel like we're stuck because of the past or where we've been, or because we're
Yeah.
not like, no, I say this in the most humbling way, but like, you had this mindset from early on, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you just
Yeah.
ran with, and you just like, no, like, and you made that decision. And to be honest,
Yeah.
like, not everybody around you did, right? And
Yeah.
even though they had the same opportunities that you had, but you were like, no,
Yeah.
I'm going to, switch gears, and you grieved your mom. And a lot of people use that as an excuse when they lose their parent, right? They lost
Mm-hmm.
their parent, and that's it. That's is life is over, and they're still struggling with it. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, my dad passed away when I was 8, and
Yeah.
his anniversary is coming up, and we still barely talk about him because it hurts.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I'm gonna, for the first time, do a podcast on him, like, for the first time ever. Like, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, we don't do that because, again, it hurts so bad. So it's not something that you just get over. However, you said no. I'm not going
Mm-hmm.
to let that hold me back, and instead you used it for fuel, and now you're helping other people. And so I want to talk about that. So you go to massage therapy, you get these 48,000 hours, you decide
Mm-hmm.
you're going to figure it out, right? Because
Okay.
you knew that you were overweight and you had some issues that you had to work out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to
Yeah.
pull something. I'm going to pull this first, right?
Okay.
Boom.
Oh,
First
thank
off,
you.
first off, look at my girl. Okay, this. That's what I'm going for in my life. When y'all see me every
Let's
morning
go,
in my
baby.
stories, don't play with it. This is exactly what I'm going for. It doesn't matter how
Yes.
old I am. I'm going to get those arms, right? You look
Yes.
amazing, right? You look
Thank you.
amazing. It's taking some really. Here you are. It's taking some real discipline. Like, look at the definition in them legs, girl. Okay, you have an incredible body, right?
Thank
And
you.
and those 48,000 hours and all of that you put into it, but you didn't start that way.
No, ma'am.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
people look at you now and they're like, oh, she's just one of those fit people. No, bro, she didn't start that way. And so, talk a little bit about that. Like, who was
Yeah.
this?
That was post mom passing. That was
Mm,
Elise that drank a bottle of wine by herself at home,
mm,
boohoo crying. That was the
mm,
one that if I wanted a milk chocolate chip milkshake at 3 in the morning, I went and got it.
mm,
That was stage 3 cancer, Elise, that
mm,
blamed other people for where I was at.
mm.
That was 230-pound Elise with symptomatic anemia. That was
Wow.
230-pound Elise that they
Mm,
recommended I get all of my female organs taken out, my gallbladder removed, 7 discs I had herniated at that time, 4 in my low back where they wanted to take those discs out and put cadavers in, 3 in
wow.
my neck that also caused a double crush in my hands. So carpal tunnel in both, level 4 and level 5. Level 5 is the worst nerve impingement you can have at all.
Wow.
And they say that you'll never have feeling again after that. And I still do it every single day and lift weights and do what you just saw.
Right.
Um, Yeah.
You hated yourself.
That was that was I had to change my mindset. I had to change so many different things
Mm.
to let that person die so this woman could live.
Ooh, y'all better write that down. Listen, listen. Let that person die so that she can live how she's living now. Okay?
Yeah.
And when I say she's living, y'all. Listen, my girl is living out here living her best life. But she had to, you see where she came from? You look at this picture and automatically people will judge and say, oh, she has a great life. But you don't know where she came from. You just heard her story. Like what all that she went through growing up, her mom passing away, her being overweight, her having her own cancer, stage 3 cancer, all of these things going wrong with her body, drinking, smoking, just not living life. And she had to let that person die so that this could be created, right?
Yeah.
And it says when you put yourself in Christ, like when you die for the Lord, like a renewal happens. You transform by the renewal of your mind. Like you die and the other one comes back up, right? And that's the point of baptism, right? When you go down, you come back up, right? And it's different. And I love this picture. First of all, girl, you brave. I don't know if I could do this.
You want to hear a funny story about that picture?
What?
So Amaury was with me there, and he was in the same mind frame as you. He was like, "Nope, I'm not going."
Okay.
Babe.
Well, hold on. Shout out to Amaury. We love him so much. He's your better half. Shout out to you. I know you guys are like this, peas in a pod, and so we love you, Amaury. Shout out to you. But so he was not with it. He was like,
he was not with it. He was not with it. He was not with it. You're literally walking on the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, and then they give you these bags of chum. So now the fish are like biting at you down on the bottom of the floor, and there's literally just that helmet of the oxygen, and they throw it on you and they throw you in the water because there's a language barrier. You're in Thailand. They don't know what you're saying, and you don't know what they're saying. You're like thumbs up, thumbs down, bad.
No, listen, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But again, like just these experiences, and I know that you're able to do that through your company, which we're also going to bring up in a little bit. And you're really changing lives, but it's just an incredible journey to see, right? It's just something so good. And so I want to jump a little bit because I see we have time here. We're going on time, and then there's a lot of comments. Facts. You got to have the obsession. The first time I ever saw him without you was last month, and I was confused. Tennille says without Amaury. She's like, I was confused. But on Instagram, we have hand claps. Shout out to all my people watching on Instagram. We have smiling faces, wows. We have wow, so much value. Like there's so many comments coming in. The people are really, really resonating with your story. Thank you guys again for watching. Continue to share, continue to, comment on here. All of her links will be in the comments by the end of this story. However, the point we're getting to is that you started this Massage Nerd Integrative Health. First of all, I love that name because it's so cute. Like Massage Nerd, like that's right, because you got 48,000 hours in. You don't put the work in, so you could call yourself a nerd.
Hey. So the little detail behind the nerd, right? Massage, the NERD, neuro emotional reprogramming disciplines.
Listen, Linda, neuro emotional replanning discipline.
Reprogramming disciplines.
Reprogramming disciplines.
Because we can't become a new person. We can't transform. We can't heal ourselves if we don't reprogram our neuro firings. What has been programmed from when we were 1 to 7, where our habits come from, where our procrastinations, our fears, our doubts, our insecurities, our shame, our ugliness that we see in ourselves, right? Others don't see it, but we are our own worst critics.
Yes.
So that is Massage Nerd.
I love that. I love the brand. I love what you're doing. So you actually have a, brick and mortar, right? You've
But
had it for about 4 years now.
yeah.
Where are you located?
So we're in St. Petersburg, Florida, across from Tyrone Square Mall. And we are here serving the community, helping to educate, helping people grow, helping people understand that our bodies, God made no mistake. He knows
Mm,
exactly what he's doing. And the more we can just give it what it needs, the better it can do what it does, which is homeostasis, right?
mm,
And that's God knows. And our when you go into old medical books, Hippocrates, right, is the father of medicine.
mm,
And our everything that we have is on earth that we need to help heal our bodies. So we just,
mm. I love that. I love
empower.
that so much. Empower. I love that. And I love actually it is here. I love that this I took this from your thing. It says, tired of being the victim, she became the victor and now helps others do the same with her blueprint for transformation. And so if you don't think that that's a blueprint and that's transformation, then I don't know what else to tell you because like pictures speak louder than words, right? At times people are like, oh, again, it's easy to see you walking by and oh, she's just one of those fit people, right? Not
I
knowing your
get it.
story and what you've been through. But I want to talk about you building this brick and mortar business
Yeah.
because I seen your transition in it. I remember the building was nothing, right? And you and Amaury literally put your all
Mm-hmm.
into creating this incredible office. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember the times, first of all, even going back and thinking about this, I like to apologize here publicly because I said to myself, you went there one time and you did not even help. And you guys were supposed to be building teams together. And I had to sit with that. And this was before this. This was through my
Yeah.
healing the last couple of years. I'm thinking
Yeah.
stuff, journaling stuff. And I thought of that and I said, man, like, you never really showed up for that. So I would like to publicly apologize for that because I really do love you and I'm proud of you. And I seen what
Thank
you
you.
guys been through, like from the lighting through the walls, pulling up. I mean, you guys, this was all in brick and mortar,
Yeah.
them two saying, no, we're doing this and we're gonna get it done, putting all of her, income, her savings, like she,
Mm-hmm.
you know, listen, is it okay? Can I
Yeah.
talk about
Oh
it?
yeah.
Oh, listen, bro, I remember she said, we were at an event and somebody says, does anybody have a brick and mortar business owned on their own? And she raised their hand. They were like, no, they weren't expecting anybody to raise their hand. It was one of those questions where nobody would have it, right?
Right.
And they're like, well, how much you pay? She's like, $40,000 of her own money. I'll never forget that, right? So she like literally saved up her money and just put everything you had into this business. And that was 4 years or 5 years? 4 years
4 years.
ago.
It's going on with construction and everything. It's going on
Yeah.
5. We're
Yeah.
open for 4.
Why not?
So we're
I
getting where those statistics are hitting pretty nice for a female owned business.
Exactly. And that's why
Yeah.
I want to celebrate you because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like you are like, no, I'm going all in. I'm taking all the
Yeah.
48,000 hours. You could have said, I'm just going to work for somebody else and try to roll up from there, right? You could
Mm-hmm.
have said, I'm
Yeah.
going to do this. You did all that while you were doing this, right?
Yeah.
And you
Oh yeah.
said, no, I'm going to have my place where people can come in my space so that
Mm-hmm.
I can show them the blueprint to transformation in their life. And this is what you're doing daily. You are healing people. I think it said 53 surgeries you have saved people from. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
Correct
it's
me.
about, so the actual number that we have, it's in the 30s. If we probably count them all, you're probably definitely absolutely right. But
Yes, I would say so.
actual
Right?
actual ones that were on the books ready for prep that were canceled. And I will add this, right? Is you mentioned my mother passing, and some people use it as a crutch, right? And some people can kind of move forward with it. My promise to her was her death will not be in vain.
Mm,
It's not going to be in vain. It's not, she's all, energy never dies, right? God is the only
right.
one that knows all everything, right? We're not here to know. We're here to know and have faith in what he's given us and what we have the opportunity to do things with. And
Mm,
what we have is to put one foot in front of the other. And that's everything. I love you and I thank you so much for what you've said. But that's the only way we have this. That's the only way Massage Nerd exists. That's the only way we have a best-selling book. That's the only way we have the connections that we have is because it's walking in faith over fear every single day.
Amen. Oh my goodness. And I'm going to put this other picture up because she does have a book, Breaking the Silence. And I didn't realize the pen was blocking it there. But this is, her front desk area. And she is a part of an anthology here, right? Is this what this is?
Yeah.
Right? And Breaking the Silence. And it's just really talking about, her and her journey more in depth of what she's been through and that promise. And it says breaking the silence for a reason, right? Because a lot of times, like she said, we grew up in the 80s where everything was quiet. This is why she didn't even question her mom or even realize it was a kind of a problem. She kind of knew because it was just like a normal thing. Like nobody talked about it. You just did what you had to do. You shut up and that was it, right? Like you do what you told, right? You do what you told. And she here, this incredible journey that she is going through with Massage Nerd and being able to help people, and the book, which the link will also be here in the bio. And so I love that you're doing this and that you just continue to grow. But I do want to switch gears quickly because time is catching up. You definitely have to come back, girl. You're gonna have to come back, and we're gonna have to do one on Massage Nerd and how people can heal, because like you're literally healing people from surgeries. Like you're literally helping people with chronological pain, fibromyalgia, like regular pain, consistent pain, growing. You know how to really transform people's lives. Mi gente, this is not a paid advertisement. Like reach out to her. Like she can help you. You have pain, you have something going on. The doctor said they don't know what else to do. Like definitely take advantage of her. Follow her. She puts a lot on social media where there's tools that you can have and things that you can put in place, right? You can have conversations with her. I'm going to put her social media back on here again, but I just want to switch gears real quick because you and I met via our previous endeavor, right? We were in an amazing, the number one travel club in the world. And a lot of people, y'all know I talk about it because a lot of y'all have gotten phone calls from me, right? And so I talk about it all the time. There ain't no shame over here, right? It was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I would not be here. I would not be personally developed. I didn't even know what entrepreneur was until I joined that company. So I didn't even have a passport. And I got one, right? And it has a stamp on it. So, like, let's be real, what that company did for me, right? However, as you got transitioned into this new company, you continue to grow from there, and you're still growing. And you guys just made a big announcement. So it's like, love Viago. Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah. Let's go, Viago.
Okay. Signing everything. I like that. Let's go, Viago. Okay, I like that. I like that V sign represent, right?
Yes, baby.
I love that so much, and it's giving you the opportunity. And you guys, I implore you to reach out to her and ask questions. If you want to travel more, you want to, better lifestyle, you want to live free, the good life, right? I love that you guys have these, signs that say living the good life, right? Because it's just about, that's what it's about, right? We're at this stage in our life, whether you're young or old watching this, most of the time it's people around our age. So I like to talk about the second half of our lives, right? The second half of our lives. And in that second half is a lot of the times where we miss out on opportunities because we feel like we're too late or we can't get over what we've been through or any of that stuff, right? But it's not too late. And so without I know that it's a certain way, but just what has it done for you? Being in environments like this, in Club Viago, what has it done for you?
Whew, girl, I don't know if we got the time for that.
I know we don't. Literally. If you can say that in like a few minutes, because
right? 2.5 seconds.
It's completely changed your life, huh?
Well, it really just kind of brings everything all together. Like you really listening to you and watching you move how you move and doing this with you at this moment. I've watched your episodes, but this is just a different experience of it, right? Watching you work. Beautiful. Come together, everything so synergistically. And then to enter into Viago, right? To say, hey, well, what has this done for you? I never had a community of like-minded individuals. I was always the solo person. I took care of my family. And when you are the alpha, when you're the solo provider of things, you don't have time for other things. I was a workaholic. I didn't believe in taking time off. Taking time off to not make money to then go spend money, that was like blasphemy in my eyes. I was like, definitely not. We grew up with no money. So that meant travel and vacations wasn't even a thought, much less an option.
Right.
Um, I I didn't even go on a family vacation until I was 20, and I took my mother and my sister and I paid for us.
Mm,
Right? And that was the thing is Viago, what was before as well, put my first passport stamp in my actual passport that I probably would have never gotten because I didn't have the mindset or the understanding that someone like me that came from where I came from, that's supposed to be a statistic, that's supposed to be an addict, that's supposed to be probably locked up or dead somewhere, would even have these options, to be in the rooms that I'm in, to communicate with the people that I communicate with, to work with the physicians and the professionals and the 6, 7, 8 figure individuals that have created change in the world, not just in their own lives, right?
mm-hmm.
We can all pick up a book somewhere or go on Instagram and wherever and find anybody preaching to be a coach or doing something, but that doesn't mean they've actually done it, right? That's the difference between like a theologian and a practitioner. Anybody can read something out of a book,
Mm,
doesn't mean you've experienced it and been able to fine tune it and have an experience to where you can actually teach or connect with others.
right.
And it gave me experiencing the world. It gave me understanding that my problems don't really matter because there's so
Mm,
many in other places that are so much larger. My issues are not that big because everything is moved as a unit. And the more that we can understand everybody has a vital gift inside of them, and the more we connect those puzzle pieces and create that webbing, that's what we have access to do. So that's what we love to do every day. And it's just that's how the fire doesn't go out. Um, and that's again something that you just kind of have to do.
You have to experience it.
Yeah.
You have to experience it. I love that. I love that for you. I love the new direction that you guys are going in. I, definitely, definitely can't wait to see more of
Yeah.
what you have in store. If you have any questions about Viago or what that even means, or,
Yeah.
how you can represent the V, right? I love that a lot, actually. Like, oh, what up, Viago? But anyways, let me stop. I'll get too crazy over here. Come back, come back. But
Turn up
no, for
Tuesday,
real.
baby.
Right, right. No, but I love it. If you have any questions, definitely hit Lisa. This is her Facebook. This is her IG, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Elise
Yeah. Yeah.
Enlightenment. And this is her Facebook, Elise
Yeah.
Howard. Send her
Yeah.
a DM, send her a message. She's going to be putting all of the links, like I said, even
Oh,
to her
yeah.
book. Any questions? I did see a question that was really important. It said,
Okay.
do you take private insurance? And I believe that was for the massage nerd.
Okay, so private insurance, we don't do insurance, but we will print receipts towards you can submit it to your insurance company and they will reimburse.
Ooh, okay. If I
Yes,
hope you're
because we
still
bridge the
watching.
gap. Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's exactly. I I love that bridging the gap,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, people are paying for insurance, but at the end of the day, that's not. Yeah, that's a whole nother live, girl, that we can do.
Yes, it
You guys
is.
taking the insurance.
Yes, it
Not
is.
happening. But to be able to do that, like to have
Yeah.
those, EOB, those bills printed out specifically, so say
Yes.
here, send it to your insurance and they can reimburse you. So
Yes.
that's a good thing. Sheila was the one who asked that. Sheila, if you
Okay.
need more information, definitely hit her up. Do
Yes.
not hesitate. If you have questions, let me know as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I can connect you with her. But at least, like, we're up on time here. You have an incredible story, girl. We only got as much as we could within the hour in the parts that we could, right? To
Yeah.
take us from where you were, how you were raised to all the way till now. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm so proud of you. Like, I don't only say that because I love you. Like, yes, I'm a little biased, y'all, because I love her so much. But at the end of the day, you have literally set out to just be relentless and resilient and just say, and like you said, your mom's, passing will not go in vain.
Mm-hmm.
And if you went with to be with her today, that promise has already been fulfilled, sis. Like you need to know that, right?
Mm.
Like I know you're gonna keep working because there's more to do, and you're assigned people, right? And you're assigned people, but that promise has already been fulfilled. Okay, and so you just keep going, you keep growing, and doing what you do best because it is only the beginning. I can't wait to have you back on here next year, and so we can talk about all the good things that's happened, you know, within the year's time, because we're going to have it probably right now. We're going to call it this same week in 2025, August. We're going to come back and we're going to bring Elise back and we're going to talk about everything that's been through in a year, but how we end all of them. Besides, I do want to talk about this scripture real quick, and then I'm going to ask you that last question. Okay. So I do want to, you know, bring up this Proverbs scripture because I believe that it is it's probably been a huge part of your life to really say, you know, leaning not on your own understanding, because your own understanding is telling you that you should be a statistic, right?
Hmm.
Mine too. Like I get that, right? Like all of this, but you didn't lean on your own understanding. There was a higher calling in your life. There was a higher power, a surrender that you submitted to, a flip in the switch, that blueprint transformation that you help other people get now. And so, you know, I believe, mi gente, that this is really huge. And I think that even if you go from 1 to 10 on this, I realized that the other day, and I talked about it in my stories, because a lot of people talk about this one, right? But if you go through that whole entire thing, it really will bring some perspective into what your next level will be, or what your questions are, or how you're sometimes asking yourself, like, can I really do it? Right? I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. You know, I don't know, right? A lot of us have been in this stage, are still in this stage. Like it took a lot, that transition for me to say no more, right? I can't do this anymore. When Elise met me, I was bigger than I am now. That's when I was at my 275, right? And I see I have pictures of her, and I should have pulled one of those out, right? Where I'm like, I look at those pictures now and I didn't even feel or look like I was that big, right? Like, right. But to be able to go from that and just really, really, you know, go from that to this, I would just put that again because I love it so much. Is an incredible thing. And so it takes a lot of this, right? It takes a lot of trust.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of not leaning on your own understanding. It takes knowing there's a path for your life. And we're not on here just faking the funk. Like we're really telling you there is a path. You can too. Yes, we're extraordinary, right? We are special. I don't put any of that, but you can be too, right? You can. And so with that being said, if you had 1 minute to talk to the most important person in your life, and you wanted to leave her with the only value that you can have, and I say her because it just came out, but you know, right? And so, and you wanted to leave her with the only value you can have, and you only had a couple of minutes to tell her the most valuable thing, and you'll never be able to speak to her again, what would you tell her?
That we only look for external validation when we don't know who we are. Silence the noise of the external. Check your boxes every day for the things that you know you need to do. I don't care if it's brushing your teeth, combing your hair, making sure your bed is made. Check your boxes as you go down it and build your confidence every day so you don't care about what the external noise is. And that will relate to everything in life.
I love that. Oh my goodness. I'm going to go back and write that down. Listen, if you did not write that down, go back, even if you have to fast forward to the end, which you don't want to because you don't want to miss this episode. And for my replay people, I didn't shout y'all out today, but y'all know I love you guys watching on the replay. Comment replay when you're watching it. But that's everything. Like you only look for external. Oh my goodness, when you don't know who you really are. And that really does change the game. I talk about that a lot. That self-worth versus that self-confidence. That self-confidence is that external, right? That self-worth is knowing you're good enough exactly the way you are right now, right? And you're worth it. And so thank you Thank you, Elise. I appreciate you for coming on. Mi gente, that is another amazing, incredible episode. Man, I swear it gets better and better each time. Like, oh my goodness, I'm so thankful, so grateful that God has given me this opportunity to have this platform to share with you guys. And Elise, thank you. Your story is incredible. Again, we're gonna have you a year from now. Put it in your calendar now, girl, because you get so busy.
You already
Make
know
that
I did.
2025, right? Make that 2025 calendar and put it on there now, because we can't wait to see you next week. Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys next Tuesday, 8 p.m. EST. Make sure you are on live or the recording. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.